Okay. All right. I think we're good now. All right. So kind of get started here real fast. I figured this is mostly about FieldFX, but at the same time, we'll go ahead and go over Salesforce as well, the mobile app. We noticed over the past few weeks just some issues or people not understanding fully how to deal with their time after it's been submitted. So when we get into the FieldFX part about it, we'll start talking about how to submit your time, how to actually enter it and put it on a ticket and that kind of stuff. But this is for the end of the week. Your time has already been entered, and you need to submit it for approval. So you need to just send it off to me and Jake and all of us to review your time so you can actually get paid for it. So this is the Salesforce Mobile App. So you're going to look for this icon here. If you haven't downloaded the app yet, you can download it out of either the Google Play or the Apple App Store. I'll send out this document here as well so everybody can kind of review it on your own time and reference back to it. So you're going to find the Salesforce app. You'll open it. When you open it, you should get a screen look something like this. You'll have your timesheet, and then it'll say down here time card approval. If you guys aren't managers, you won't see anything down in time card approval. This is for you to approve other people's time. You'll notice that when it opens, usually after about Thursday of the week, when it opens, it'll automatically open on the following week. So like when I took this screenshot, it would have been like the November 15th or so, and it's already showing the week of November 18th to 24th. So we need to change that. We need to go back to the current week. And so to do that, you click on that little drop down up there, and you'll see your list of dates pop up. You scroll down one and select the correct one. I apparently got muted. Okay, so when you select the correct week, you'll see your timesheet show up. You'll see all the items that have already been entered. Important to pay attention over here on this left column where it says approved. In this case, this is the status of that current time card. So the first status, as soon as it's entered, it'll say in progress, and that's where it should be when you go to submit your time for the week. So what you're going to do is you're going to take and look through every single day, and you're going to make sure that it's accurate. One, that all of your time is entered. You're not missing any time for the week. And then very importantly is making sure that you don't have any overlapping time. So overlapping time would be like, for example, like it kind of explains up here, if you have two entries on the same day. So let's say on January 1st, 2020, you have an entry that starts at 8 a.m. and ends at 4 p.m. And then on the same day, January 1st, 2020, you have one that also starts at 10 a.m. and ends at 1 p.m. So those are overlapping, right? So this time period, this 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. is inside of the 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. time period. Those would be overlapping time or conflicting time entries. And what happens with that is if you don't catch it and you submit it, then at the very least, what's going to happen is your time card is going to get rejected. And if you submitted it at the last minute, you probably won't have time to correct it, and you'll end up missing the deadline for payroll, and it'll start a big process. Worst case scenario, if we don't catch it either and it gets sent off to payroll, they will decline both of them, and you won't get paid for either one of them. And so then again, start the whole process. We have to do paper timesheet. Takes 2 to 3 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that to get corrected. Sometimes we can get it on your next paycheck, but it's a big fiasco, and it takes 5 minutes to actually spend a couple minutes and review your time. So look at every single day. So I'm going to look at 10/7 in this case and say start time 8:15, end time 9:30. No overlap there. These are all single items, pretty simple there. But this one, let's say starts at 9 a.m., ends at 2 p.m. This one starts at 2 p.m., ends at 4 p.m. So that makes sense. There's no overlap in time. Now, if there is overlapping time, you notice it before you submit your time, you need to either go in and delete the item yourself. So you go find which one is incorrect, and you go into FieldFX and open that ticket and delete it. Or if you can't access it, can't see that ticket, then you call me or Juan, and we can go in and do that for you. Janelle, anybody has access to Salesforce console can go in there and delete that for you and rectify it. So you've reviewed your time. There's no overlap in time. All your time is entered. You're happy with it. Everything's correct. You're going to press this button here that says Submit for Approval. When you do that, then it sends it to me and Jake and says, hey, Tech, XYZ has said that his time is correct. He approves, he's certifying that it's all true and correct, and all of his time is entered. he's ready for you to look at it and approve it. At that point, when you press that button, submit for approval, the status over here on the left will say submitted, and then it's out of your hands. That's all you got to do for the week. From there, a couple hours later, you'll see it'll pop up and say approved, like it does in this case. So that's submitting time. It's that simple. So it's pretty much it's every week. Any hourly employee has to go in and do that. So you've got to go in there and submit your time. I can't do it for you. Your manager, your direct manager, sometimes can. I haven't gotten the access to do it yet, but it's a big pain in the butt, and we got to do them one at a time, that kind of thing. So it's a expectation that every tech every week submits their time. The rule is that your time should be submitted the night before. So Sunday night, you should be reviewing your time and submitting it by midnight or so. Okay, so Salesforce app is also used for entering paid time off. It's only entering paid time off. So any kind of field work, shop work, anything where you actually work, you're not going to do in Salesforce. But if you have vacation time, sick time, or personal day that you want to enter, then you do that through Salesforce. Couple notes over here on the side about those different types. Of course, vacation time is accrued at the rate explained in your offer letter. So it basically accrues throughout the year. You get, normally it's like 1.5 hours per pay period, and you can take that anytime that you want with prior manager approval. Sick time is you automatically start the year with 40 hours. It's to be taken when you're sick and can't come to work. And a kind of an important note is that if you want to take more than 3 days of sick time in a row, then you have to have a doctor's note. Corporate requires it. We actually have to scan it and email it off to corporate for them to approve it. Finally, personal day is everybody receives 2 personal days a year. It's another 16 hours basically of free vacation time. It's just time for you to take whatever day you want to take off. So it could be you want to take off your birthday, or you're just you want to go to race or something like that next week. That's what your personal day is for. It's pick your own holiday, essentially, is what it is. So to enter your paid time off, same thing. We're going to click on this Salesforce app. It'll take us into this main screen. Rather than messing around up here where it says timesheet, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a button that says create a time card. You're going to click that. When that pulls up, it's going to show you all of your balances. So you'll see what your vacation balance is, your sick time balance, and your personal day balance is. And so you know how much time you have to take. Now, an important note is that these balances don't change as you enter sick time, like for the week, basically. So if I say, or as you enter any paid time for the week. So if I'm, say, entering 2 days of paid time off, and so for the first day, November 21st, I put in 8 hours of personal day balance, and then the next day I'm going to take vacation. When I put those 8 hours in, and then I go to open it up and create a new time card to do November 22nd, it's still going to show 8 hours down here. It doesn't actively update that quickly. It updates every time you get a paycheck. So when you get to the screen, you find out how much balance you have, and you decide what type of PTO you're going to enter. You're going to click this start time box. It'll bring up a little box like this right here at the bottom. You'll scroll to the date, scroll to the start time, hours and minutes, and then AM or PM, and then just click done. And then end time, same thing. Scroll to the date, scroll to the end time, hours and minutes, AM or PM, click done. Really important, this thing every time, so like in this case, I've got it set to November 22nd. If I was doing this for November 20th and I go to start date and I scroll up to November 20th and I set the time, 8 a.m., and then I click the end date, it's going to go back to today on the end date one. So I got to remember to go and scroll back up to November 20th for this one as well. Otherwise, you'll end up with 48 hours or something like that, or 56 hours of paid time off entered on accident. So be really be very cognizant of that. That's what I'm looking for. Keep an eye on that. When you click done on end time, you'll click the charge code button. I guess I didn't get a screenshot of that, but you'll click that. You'll get another drop down, and it'll give you all the different types of PTO. So you can enter vacation, sick time, personal day. There's like 6 or 8 others that are like on-call time and stuff that don't apply to North Dakota or to upstream. And so, but those are the 3. These are the only 3 that actually apply to upstream. It's vacation, sick time, personal day. So you click done on that, and then you'll click save, and then you will be able to go back to your timesheet, and you'll see that PTO entry entered in there, and I'm ready to go. So then it's just a normal time card at that point. You review it just like your other ones. It also, it cannot overlap with anything else, so you got to keep that in mind as well. Make sure you don't enter overlapping PTO time on a day that you already have some other time. and then whenever you're comfortable, everything's good to go, you click submit for approval. So, all right, so that is Salesforce Mobile App. If anybody has any questions on that, while I'm switching over to FieldFX mode, you guys feel free to unmute and ask. So. Okay, so FieldFX. So I sent this out to everybody that's in this meeting, this document here. This is the purpose of this basically is for you to print this out, keep it on your phone, however you want to do it, but use this to actively reference. Go back and read if you need to. You know, if you're not sure, if you can't remember what you're supposed to do at a certain point, take this this document with you here, and it's got a legend up here, a table of contents, so you can find exactly what you're looking for. How do I enter the details for rental items? Oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna go to page 14, and it'll show you. So I'm gonna loosely reference this this document here, but for the most part, you guys already have this, should have already read this, and so we're just gonna go straight into FieldFX. So like that document shows, to get into FieldFX, you're going to go to there's either of the web addresses. The one I always use is fieldfx.herokuapp.com. This one, the other one, fieldfx.com or whatever it is, for some reason always seems to have some bugs. Like it works 70% of the time, 80% of the time. When I was a tech, I never had issues with this fieldfx.herokuapp.com one. So we'll go here. So now we are at the point where we got to log in. So this login information is going to be your Salesforce login. So if you don't know your Salesforce login, that is the same login that you would use to sign into the Salesforce app that we were just talking about. But those are the only two that are correlated. This isn't necessarily your email password. It's not necessarily your UltiPro password. If you set them the same, then it is. But it is a separate password. So if you don't have this, then you either shoot me an email and we can forward up to help desk and ask them to reset your password for you. I think you actually get an email and have to go through like a reset link and that kind of stuff. But it's not terribly hard to get done. And if you've signed into your app, your Salesforce app, then you should have this login info. So I'm gonna click login here, and it will take me to FieldFX. So this is the main screen of FieldFX. It's kind of thinking here for a minute here. This is the main screen of FieldFX here. And so the theory of FieldFX, the way that FieldFX works is essentially that it is a ticketing program that works both offline and online. So you can, for example, at the start of the day, you could be connected to the internet, you're at the shop, whatever the case is. You will sign into FieldFX, and you'll download all the information, for the job. All the updated information will get sent to your computer, and then you can leave the shop. And as long as you don't close this page out, so you got to keep the tab open, you just minimize it. As long as you don't close it out, it'll stay just like this. It'll stay working. The sync button will get grayed out, but other than that, everything will be the same. And so then you can be in the field. You can make a ticket and give it to the company man, get it signed, all that kind of stuff, and upload it to your computer essentially, and then it'll save that information, and then when you get back to the shop or wherever you have internet access, then you can sync again, and it will take all the changes that you made and upload it to basically the globe, the World Wide Web, essentially, to the internet. So it'll make it where everybody else can see the changes that you made. So because of that, we have this big blue sync button, and that sync button is essentially that. It's the button that says, okay, I have internet access now. I want to download all the information that has been updated in Salesforce since the last time I synced, and I want to send all the information, all the stuff I've changed to Salesforce since the last time I synced. So I'm not going to do it now because the longer you wait to sync, the longer it's going to take to sync because it's more changes. So like I sync, this has been a week since I've synced, so it'd probably take me 5 or 10 minutes to sync. If you sync every single day, it takes 30 to 60 seconds. If you sync once a month, it might take an hour. And so keep that in mind. Make sure and sync often. The rule of thumb is that you should sync before and after every shift, essentially. So first thing in the morning, when you get to the job site, you should sync. When you get done, you've made the ticket, you got the ticket signed, all that kind of stuff, you're getting ready to upload it, you should sync. Pretty much everybody's issued MI5s. If you haven't been, you will be whenever you get your laptop and printer and that kind of stuff. So, okay, so navigating FieldFX. So over here on the left-hand side is kind of our navigation tabs here. And so when we want to get to a certain job, I always kind of tell people, you won't see the quotes button. That's just there because I've got management access. The tickets button you'll see, pretty much never going to go into the tickets button. The tickets button is kind of I'm not sure why they have it there. You'll kind of understand here in a minute when we go more into it. So what we want to go to is jobs. When I click jobs, it's going to take me to a list of every job that I've been assigned to. And so the way it works is your manager takes a phone call for a job, says, okay, I'm going to send out so-and-so. And when he builds that job, he's going to assign you to that job, and that will allow you to see it in your FieldFX. So when he does that, remember that you have to sync to get that information to pull over. Obviously your computer, if you haven't synced yet, it doesn't know that he's assigned you to the job. So you've got to go back and press that sync button to get it to pull all that information onto your computer, and then you'll be able to see it here on this list here. So the way that our tickets are kind of organized is they're organized into jobs. And so you'll have a job, and within every job you'll have multiple tickets. And the amount of tickets or the frequency of tickets really kind of is up to the company man, it's up to the customer, and it's up to us in a lot of ways. So the most common ones are we either do daily tickets or we do weekly tickets. And that's just something, a discussion to have with your company man. Does he want daily tickets or weekly tickets? So on that note, though, note that Total Safety's policy is that we do not run a ticket past 30 days. So if your company man says, I want an into the job ticket, and that job's going to go more than a month, then you need to let them know. I can give you a 30-day ticket if you'd like, but that's the most that they'll let me give. I can't go past 30 days on a ticket. So, okay, so we're going to find whatever job it is that we're looking for. In this case, I'm hoping that this has a ticket. Looks like it does. So I want to go to this XTO Raven job. I'm sitting in the supervision for the XTO Raven. I'm going to scroll down and find it. You should know also, normally the most recent job, these are listed in the order that they were updated. So the brand new job your manager just created, when you sync it, should actually be at the top. But either way, you still want to make sure you don't just click on the top one right away. You want to look and actually read it, make sure it's the right job. So we'll find that job, and then what we're going to do is click anywhere in this white box. So I want to click on that, and that's going to take me into the job. So the first tab it's going to take me to is the details. This is the job details page. In here, we're going to see stuff like the job name. If there was a PO, a purchase order, it would be listed right here. We'll see the state that it's in, projected start date, end date. For some reason, it says it's required on the FieldFX side, but it doesn't require it on the Salesforce side. So you'll see that down there. It's red. It stands out, that kind of stuff. It should let you go forward without actually entering it. We'll see work order, another spot for PO, order contact. So this would be the company man, a company man's phone number here. This tells you who created the job, and whether it's within city limits. You don't really have to worry about that part. This is just kind of general job details. So from here, I want to go look at the tickets on the job, right? I need to make a ticket. I need to edit a ticket, whatever the case is. So again, on this left-hand side, I'm going to go to the tickets tab, and that's going to take me to a list of all of the currently open tickets. That's really important to remember. Or to understand. So the only tickets that are going to show up here in FieldFX are the ones that are still currently open. And so if you made a ticket yesterday and you got it signed and you turned it into the shop, and now it's 5 o'clock the next day, most likely Janelle has already, or your business administrator, wherever you are, will have already submitted that ticket for invoicing. They've already uploaded it and send it off to corporate. And when they do that, it changes the status out of in progress, and you can no longer see it here. And so if you don't see any tickets, don't panic. Doesn't mean that the ticket that you made yesterday is gone. It's probably just closed out already. So this will give us a list of tickets. If there was multiple tickets, there would be multiple tickets listed here. Now you'll see some stuff down here. Ticket well name, if you don't fill it in, it's blank. If there's no work order, it'll be blank. The job tracking number just tells you what job, this XTO Raven 21X15, is this ticket attached to. And so it's just kind of how it knows to keep this ticket inside of this job. The current status of the ticket date, that's going to be the ticket, that will be the day that you created the ticket. So that's not necessarily a good date to look at. Sometimes you make the ticket for the next 5 days all on the same day. So they would all show ticket date of 11/19. Instead, what we want to look at is the work start date or the work end date if there was one. So this I know is the ticket for the work that we performed on November 20th, starting at 9 a.m. So same thing as before. When I want to go into this ticket, I'm going to click anywhere in that white box, and it will take me into the ticket. So now we've gone from the main page to jobs, to the correct job that we're looking for, to the tickets tab, and then to the specific ticket that we're looking for. It's going to always take you to this checklist first. It's not required. It's just kind of to give you a reminder to go through and check and make sure you've got everything taken care of. Next, I can go to the details page. Now, the last details page we were on was job details. Now, this is ticket details. So this would be stuff that's specific to the ticket, basically. So think, for example, if I had a job that was just named XTO Raven Pad, and we were going to do 5 wells on the same pad. We could have all those wells on the same job, but we would need a separate ticket for each well. And so that's why we have a separate ticket details page, is because then I can go in well name and I can write that this is the Raven 21X15A. And then on the next ticket, I can go in and change that to 15B and 15C. And that will help differentiate what well this ticket is for, essentially. So that's why we got the separate ticket details. Same thing on the date. If we're having multiple tickets for the same well on the same job, but they're a different day, then we're going to differentiate in the ticket details tab by date. So we change, this is the ticket for the 21st now, and work end date is also the 21st. We'll put it at midnight. It should be 22nd then in that case. So that's what this ticket details page here is for, is to kind of enter the details that are specific to the ticket. On the job details, we're going to put stuff that is general to the job. So if we had one PO for the whole job, regardless of what well they were on, we would put that on the job details. If we had a work order or a PO that's specific to that well, and so this ticket, then we would put it on the ticket details. That makes sense. So from here, that's pretty much all you got to fill in: start date, end date. Well name is ideal if you go ahead and fill that in. So I'll go ahead and put that in here, Raven 21X15A. And now I'm to the point where I'm ready to add ticket items. So for those of y'all that came over from Airgas, you can think of the job as kind of like the job folders that you guys used to have that would hang up on your war board or whatever it was, and you would stick all your tickets inside of them. And then your tickets are same thing, just like tickets for us, where you have they're kind of differentiated by well or by date. And then items is going to be like your line items. And so when we come over here, we're going to see, in a lot of cases, Juan or I, whoever creates the job, will have already entered all the items that you're going to need to use. So they'll already pop up. But that's not always the case. And you should know how to do it, how to enter them just in case we didn't do that. So within this case, all the items are already entered. But if we look over, we can see that the items are here, but none of the details are. So see, H2S technician is here, and we know it's $75 an hour, but the extended amount is $0, and it's because we haven't entered any time yet. And mileage, there's 1 mile for one truck entered, and so it's $1.50. And our breathing air package, same thing, $2.25. Quantity is 1, usage is 1, but we haven't put a start date on it, so it hasn't started rental yet, so it's still at $0. So we get to this point, if the items are already entered here, that's what we got to do now. We got to enter those details. Before we get there, I'm going to show how to add items. If you got in here and these items weren't already entered here, now we need to enter these items. So in that file that I sent, I kind of gave a rough idea of these are generally the items that you're going to need to add. It's usually basically your rental, so like your air package, your rescue package, your workover trailer, whatever the case is. You got to do your rental, you need to do your labor, so that would be your time, and then you need to do your mileage if you traveled somewhere. If you customer came and picked up the trailer, then there wouldn't be mileage on it. But if we went and delivered it, we need to put labor and mileage for the delivery on there. So when I'm ready to add some items, these are all gone. We'll just go ahead and delete all these. There's no ticket items when I open this items tab here. I need to add them now. So it gives me this prompt right down here. It says add a new ticket item. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click this blue plus sign here. and it's going to take me into the ticket item picker is what it's called. Now, this is kind of an important thing to note here. So see up top here on the left, we have a tab for quote, and we have a tab for price book. Not always will you have this tab for quote. You'll always have a price book, but you won't necessarily always have a quote. So the way this works is basically this: if there's a quote tab, that means at some point in the past we have agreed upon pricing with this customer. So we have sat down with the customer, and for at least these 9 items here, we have given them different pricing than what we would normally charge. And so when you come into a job, it's going to automatically take you into the quote tab first anyways. And so you should always start on the quote tab and look for the item that you need. So if I need a labor item, I see there's a labor item here. So I'm going to make sure I pick it out of the quote tab. If I need a mileage item, same thing. There's a mileage item here. I'm going to make sure I pick it out of the quote tab. I need a trailer. There's not a trailer here. And so only if you don't see a trailer within the quote tab, then we're going to switch over to price book, and we'll pick it out of the price book. So if it's not in quote, that means use our generic pricing, our normal Williston price book or Worland price book or wherever you're at, Dickinson price book. Then you're going to switch over and use that. So now over here on the side, before we get into the price book here, over here on the side, this is how you pick categories. So in this case, there's only 9 items, so there's really no reason for me to. I can just look at them all at once. But if, say, there was 500 items and I wasn't sure what labor item I needed to use, I could click this labor tab, and it'll only show me labor items. Click the services tab, it'll only show me services. So generally, though, I'm going to use all. And then if I'm looking for something specific, and this is a really long list of items, then I can click up here in this press enter to search part, and I can type in H2S Tech and press enter, and it'll give me all items that start with H2S Tech, essentially. So I'm going to click plus on that. I need to do mileage, and now I need to add our workover package as well. So now in this case, see over here, we have thousands of items in the Wilson price book. I could sit here and scroll down and click show more forever and not hit the end of this price book. I mean, there's a price book item for everything in here. So in these cases, that's where these tabs on the side come in handy, or more importantly, where you just do your search up top here. So I know that I need a workover package. So I'm going to hit that. And I know that Williston, we always charge $200 per day for a workover package. For those of you in Williston and Dickinson, on the calendar, we're going to have listed on the calendar what pricing you should use. So I can show you an example of one right now. And Wayne and Aaron, and if you're on this call, I can at some point pass this along to y'all as well and show you guys how to use this, where you can kind of do the same thing. It helps us make sure that we're getting the correct, the customer's being billed the correct amount. So if I open like that, here's a Dickinson, okay, so they don't have that on there. Let's see if I can find one real quick here. Let's see, Conoco Curtis. Yeah, there we go. So this would be like an example of one of our calendars here. And if you scroll down, it tells me exactly what I should be charging. So for travel time, or for H2S Tech time, I need to use this item. For travel time, I need to use this item, mileage this. It tells you, breaks down. And this will be specific to customer and specific to job, but this will tell you what items to use. So we got our workover package. We're going to select that. We've got our quote, these items here on the quote, so everything's good. Now I'm going to press this green plus in the bottom right corner, and that's going to say add these items. Now it's going to give me this pop-up, and it's going to say, would you like to add details before saving each ticket item? I always did yes. You can do no. Basically what it does, yes will bring up the details pages for each item automatically and make you enter the details for that item right away. It's just quicker that way. And if I click no, what it'll do is it'll go ahead and add the items to the ticket with no details, and then I'll have to go back and click each item individually, open it up, and enter the details for it. So we'll go ahead and do yes for now, and it's going to bring me in. So the first item it brought up is workover package. So I need to put in here my start date, and we're going to say, I think we said it was the 21st. So we're going to put in our start date. Now this is an important thing to watch. See what happened here? So I put in a start date. I haven't put in an end date yet. So because of that, I'm telling this rental man that, hey, this rental has been going on. It's the 27th right now. It's been going on since the 21st. It's going to automatically calculate. Okay, then it's been on rent for 7 days. So it's 7 times $200 a day. That means it's $1,400. So it's extremely important that you put an end date on, because if you don't, what will happen is you'll make the ticket, you'll leave it blank. It'll be correct for right now. Say if it's actually the 27th, I put it in here. I put the start date as the 27th. So it's today. I'm getting the ticket signed for today by the company man. It shows $200 like it's supposed to. So now I move on to the next item, and I enter all the information, and I print it out, and I go give it to the company man, and he signs it, and then I bring it back, and I scan it in, and tomorrow, now, because it doesn't have an end date, now the ticket has changed on Salesforce and on Rental Man. Now this is $400, but the ticket that we have signed is only signed for $200, right? So it's going to continue accruing even after you close the ticket, even after you get it signed and that kind of stuff. So it's very important that you put the actual end date. So I'm going to put, in this case, if it was the 21st, I'm going to put the end date of the 21st. And that will ensure that it stays at $200. It stays at the amount that it's supposed to be at. So that's all I've got to put in for this. The other items, you never mess with billable. It's always billable. Never mess with standby. It's never on standby. Quantity, sometimes you might use. So this would be, say, for example, I have 3 trailers on location. I could change quantity to 3, and it'll change the price to reflect that. And then this stuff down here you don't mess with either. This is what ticket it's going on and what the price book item is and all that kind of stuff. So you leave that blank. So you just need equipment start and end date, sometimes quantity. We're going to press this green plus in the bottom right corner, and it'll add those items. That's actually a good note, too. It's been a while since I've used FieldFX, so I just realized we were in the ticket item builder. I was on the price book tab when I pressed that plus, and so it only added the workover package because I selected it from here. I need to go back to quote and add the 2 items from the quote. I'm going to press plus. Now I'll show you guys what happens if I hit no here. So it says, would you like to add details before saving each ticket item? I'm going to hit no. So the item still got added, but it didn't actually I don't know why that's weird. Put start and end date. Oh, it did because of the job maybe. But it put a start and end time on there. So either way, I need to go edit it now. So now we talked about how you change a workover pack or how you enter details on a rental item. Now for a labor item, it's going to be a little different looking of a page. So on here, this is what your labor items page's detail page will look like. And it's pretty straightforward. So we need to change our start time, our end time, start date, end date, start time, end time, and then we'll talk about the worker box here. So we click on the date. It's going to bring up a calendar. I'll select the right day. If I do this, see, I put the actual start time as after the actual end time. It's going to give me this red error saying that it must follow the actual start time. So I need to change this to the 21st also. And then I need to put the actual hours in. So let's say I started at 5 a.m. So the way this works is the outer circle here is hours. The middle circle is minutes. The inner circle is a.m. and p.m. And then I press the green number in the middle or green oval in the middle to select. So if it was 5 a.m., I do that until, let's say I worked until 12 a.m. the next day. So I forgot, I put this in now, we'll do 12 p.m. or 11 p.m. So we do 11:00 p.m. and select that. Now these other options on the side here, you can hit cancel and that'll just close it out. You can hit clear and that will erase everything that's in that box. And you can hit now. Now it's an interesting button. It's helpful, but only if you're ending your timer right that second. Because watch what happens. It's 1:39 right now. I hit now. It's going to set it till 1:39 p.m. So we don't ever charge customers that detailed, right? I would charge them till 1:30 or till 1:45. I wouldn't do 1:39 p.m. So I don't ever really use that now button. I'm always just going to enter it myself. Guys, can you double check you got your phones on mute? Like somebody's maybe phone came off mute or something like that. So, okay, so now at this point, it is charging the customer what it's supposed to charge a customer. So it's calculated out at $75 an hour for 18 hours. That comes out to $1,350. So I could be done right now. I could just press this checkbox and it would be on the ticket and I could print it out and the customer could sign it and everything be set. Like, got to do mileage still, but on the labor side at least. But if these are the same hours that you actually worked, and so say basically if we're charging the customer for the same hours as what you need to put on your timesheet, then what you can do is up here in the worker box, you can click that and it'll bring up a list of every employee of Total Safety. And so then in here I can look for myself Even salary employees and that kind of stuff will come up in here. Maybe. Let's see. Let's try this. Guess maybe it's because I haven't synced in so long here. Till yeah, it's not letting me do it now. Interesting. It may just be an issue with the sync or something like that. But I would find myself, well, in this case, I'll just do Charles. Oh, well, there. Oh, I see what happened. It's pulling up everybody. So in this case, I'm looking for myself. It's pulling up everybody because they're all listed as reporting to me. So if you typed in yourself, if I type in Albert Martinez, it'll only pull up. Well, no, that's pulling those. I guess Albert Martinez and then people he's worked with recently. So, but anyways, okay. So I'm gonna look for myself. Jutilla, I'm down here. So I'm gonna select that. Now what I just did by putting my name in this worker box, I have now told FieldFX put these hours on my timesheet. And so now when I press this plus button, when I sync in, I go in and press that sync button, those hours will show up on my timesheet now, and I'll get paid for those hours. So with that, there's a pretty common circumstance, and most of the time, honestly, we don't do that. We don't put the worker's name in here for the item that we're charging the customer. And the reason is most of the time, we're not charging the customer for exactly the same hours that you need to get paid for. So, for example, think if you had come into the shop first thing in the morning to grab a sensor because you forgot it, or the shop people forgot to put it in the trailer. We can't charge the customer for that, but you get paid for that. It wasn't your fault that the sensor got left out. And so we wouldn't want to do this because then you just end up with a bunch of extra time card entries. And so instead what I would do is I'm going to leave my worker blank and add it, and you'll notice it still charges the customer. We don't have to have a worker on there for it to charge the customer the amount of money. And we'll go back here in a few and we'll talk about how we're going to put your time in for the day. So now finally, mileage. This one's pretty straightforward too. We're going to put in the start date, which is going to be the day we drove those miles. We'll put in quantity, which would be how many miles we drove. You can do this one of two ways. The way that we do it in Williston is that you put in the quantity as the amount of miles round trip. So if it's 50 miles to location, from the shop to location, I'm going to put 100 miles because it's round trip. And then usage is the number of trucks that drove that amount of miles. And so if it's a one tech job, obviously it's just one. If it's a 3 tech job, then you drove 2 trucks. And so we need to change usage to 2. And again, it's going to automatically calculate out the correct price to charge the customer. So again, we're not going to mess with any of this other stuff, billable on standby asset numbers. You can put worker in here. This is just going to basically notate, hey, these miles were driven by this employee. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't add any time to your card or anything like that. It just makes the ticket look a little bit more detailed. When we're done with this, I'll press my plus button, and now my ticket's made. So this, as far as everything I need to charge the customer, it's all entered now. It's pretty straightforward, right? So now I didn't put my name on this item here, so I need to get paid for today. So with that, there is another ticket item that we're going to use. So if we open this here and I go into my price book, I'm going to look for an item called labor time capture. You'll see a few of them show up. It doesn't matter which one you pick. I tried it when I was a tech. If you use this one, you don't actually get paid double time. Use this one, you don't actually get paid overtime. You will if you're actually in overtime, but it's not a cheat or a hack or anything like that to make you get paid double time. So it doesn't matter which one you pick. I'll use this one here, just labor time capture for package/day rate. So I'm going to click on it. It gives me the blue check mark. I'm going to press my plus sign here. I'll say, yes, I want to add my details. And now this looks exactly like that one that we just used, right? This is the same thing as that labor item picker we did earlier. But in this case, when I do the date and the time and say instead of 5 a.m., I actually got to the shop at 4:30 a.m. and I actually got home at 11:45 p.m. So now instead of 18 hours, I can put in 19.25, and you'll see it doesn't charge the customer anything. So this labor time capture is like it's a $0 hidden item. So you're able to enter your hours and not charge the customer for anything. Guys, triple check your phones again, all right? I'll go through and try and mute everybody, I guess, but there's somebody in here that's not muted, so let's see. We'll do this real quick. Okay. All right. I think we got it. So this is a hidden item essentially, and so this is basically an item I can put in to enter my time into the job. I can attach my time to that job, so my hours come off of the margins for that job, but the customer doesn't see it, and it doesn't charge the customer anything. So I've got my time entered. Now I need to put my name in here, and when you put your name in, this is what actually makes it show up on my timesheet. So if I put in all the hours, it's not going to do anything until I go to worker and I select the worker. I put myself on there. Now when I press plus, and now when I sync, that is going to show up on my time card or on my timesheet for the week. So that's how you're going to put in your time. So as kind of a side note, if you are not the tech making the ticket, then the tech who's making the ticket should put in everybody's time. So if you're making the ticket, you should build the ticket like you're supposed to, and then you should do your labor time captures or put it on the item itself, however you want to do it. But you should do it for everybody on that job. If it's just a single tech job, then obviously you're the tech making the ticket. If it's a 3-tech job, then whoever's making the ticket is responsible for putting everybody's time in. Now with that though, say you got sent out to go just audit a trailer, and there's already a job made. You don't have to make a ticket. The managers will still push you that job so that it shows up in your jobs tab. You can see that job in there, and what you would do is just go open that job, open the currently open ticket, and just add a labor time capture to it for yourself. You don't have to add anything else. You're just putting a labor time capture in. So that's how you put your time in for the week. You go do that on every job that you worked on. Okay, so our ticket's made. I'm ready to go talk to the company man and get it signed. So from here, what I'm going to do is on this navigation bar on the side, I'm going to click on reports. Reports are the tickets themselves, essentially. An important thing to note, though, is that when I do this, when I add a report, I'm taking a snapshot of the current moment, what the ticket looks like. And so if I generate a report right now, and then I go back and I change one of these ticket items, and I go back again and I reopen that report, it's going to still show the previous ticket items. I have to generate a report every time I change a ticket item on that ticket. So, so to generate this report, I'm going to press this blue plus sign down here, and that's going to take me into the different options of tickets. And all these options over here are just a different style ticket that we can use. And so this ticket is called Field Ticket Exclude $0. And so this is how this excludes $0 is how we're keeping that labor time capture from showing up on the ticket. If I just pick a normal field ticket, our labor time capture is going to show up because we're not excluding $0 items. So the options are field ticket excludes $0. It's just going to be a normal field ticket with a signature box and not show $0 items. We do field ticket excludes $0 labor. So this would exclude labor time captures, but if we had another $0 item that wasn't labor, it would show up. And again, it's a field ticket, so it just has signature boxes. And that field ticket with stamp excludes $0 labor. This is by far the most common ticket that you will use. So we need a stamp box somewhere that the company man can put a stamp or a sticker or whatever he's got, and we need a signature box, and we want to hide that $0 labor. So this is this third one down, field ticket with stamp excludes $0 labor. That is by far the most common ticket that you'll use. The other options are a normal field ticket. We will never use that. This is kind of an interesting one. Field ticket, some labor. So these couple down here, some labor, yeah, I guess these are both the same. Oh, stamp, some labor, and then just some labor. So these summarized labor tickets are kind of interesting. So this would be useful for a job that's really long or that has a lot of text on it. So if I do a normal field ticket here, it's going to show every labor item that the customer got charged for. So if I had a month-long ticket, I'd have 30 labor items. It would all, list out times however many techs I had. So if I had 2 techs for 30 days, I'd have 60 labor items listed on the ticket. The ticket would be 5 pages long. So the sum labor option, what it does is it summarizes. So instead of having 60 labor items, you would have 2 line items. You would say tech number 1 worked a total of 580 hours, and tech number 2 worked a total of 540 hours. And this is the amount that we charge you for that total. So it just summarizes the amount of labor done on the job. Everything else is the same. Still shows your equipment, your services, got your stamp box and your signature box. So that's how I'm going to pick what ticket I want. I'm almost always going to go with the third one down. And now I'm ready to generate this report. I'm going to press this green plus sign. It's going to say all signatures are needed. Do you want to go back and sign the report? Hit no. What this is for, when FieldFX first came out, the plan was originally that you would have a tablet, a touchscreen tablet, and you would make the ticket and you go bring it to the company man and he'd use his finger to sign. And so this is trying to get you to do that. But that's not supported anymore, and so you just skip over this part. Hit no, don't go back. Now it's generated the report. Now I've got a ticket that I'm ready to go give to the customer. It's got the, all the details it needs to have. It's got the correct, and of course, you need to spend a couple minutes and review this and make sure you didn't screw anything up. Make sure everything's correct. I'm charging them 18 hours for 1021. That's correct. I'm charging them 1 day on rent. Charging them 100 miles times one truck. Looks correct to me. So now I'm ready to go. I can hit this printer button, and it'll pop up a print dialog, and you can print it out. And then you're ready to go get the ticket signed. So from here, I'll press the blue plus or blue check mark there, and then I'm pretty much good. So now once you get the ticket signed, the options are you can bring them to the shop and drop them off. That's how most people do them now. The correct way, what you would do is have a scanner, and you'd scan it back onto your computer, the signed ticket, and I would come into Files. I hit Attach a new file, and I go find that ticket I just scanned, and I would attach it. So let's find, we'll do that. Attach this here. Attach that, and now it is attached to the ticket. And so now everything's good. So now everything's all set and good and ready to go, and you can close your computer for the night and go home and go to sleep, right? But not quite. Because now we've still got to remember that everything that you just did, all that work that we just did right there, doesn't exist anywhere else except for on your computer right now because you haven't synced yet. And so all those changes that we just made a ticket, we just went through all that stuff there. Now I need to send all that to Salesforce to where everybody else can see it. So I'm going to hit this FieldFX button in the top left corner. That takes me home. It shows me I have pending changes here. I'm going to press the sync button. I'm not going to actually do it right now because it'll take forever. But once I do that, once I press sync, it's going to upload everything I just changed and send it off to Salesforce. So a couple more things to cover real fast is now it's tomorrow, or it's the 22nd, and I need to make a ticket for the next day. So I go back to my Jobs tab. So I'll start over from the home screen here. It's the next day. I'm getting ready to make a ticket for the 22nd. There's a few shortcuts that you can use. Now that you've made the first ticket, I can do some shortcuts here. So I'm going to go to my Jobs tab again. I'm going to find the job I'm working on, the Raven. I'm going to go to my Tickets tab. Remember, this is all still the same. We made this for the first, for first ticket, so everything's correct on this already. We don't have to mess with this anymore. We'll go to Tickets, and here's that ticket we just made for yesterday. Now I'm ready to make one for the 22nd, 9 a.m. to the 23rd at midnight. So what I could do is press this blue plus sign down here, and that's going to create a new ticket. So when I do that, it's going to create a new ticket from scratch. We don't ever use delivery ticket. We don't ever use internal labor ticket for y'all's purposes for the FieldFX. The only ticket you should ever use is a field ticket. And then I would come in here and I'd fill in all these details. I'd pick line of business, which is always rental and compliance. I'd put my start date, and I go through all this stuff, and I enter all this, and then I have to go enter all my ticket items again and go through the whole process we just went through. We'd have to go through all that again. Or if you do it quick enough, if that ticket's still showing up, remember, because, here, this only shows the tickets that are currently in progress. So if I turn in my ticket, then I'm kind of in a race against the clock to get a new ticket made. Otherwise, this ticket's going to disappear, and I'm going to have to go that route. I'm going to have to press the blue plus mark, and I'm just going to have to go through and enter all the details again. But if the ticket's still showing up from yesterday, I can use this button right here. This is a clone button is what this means. So when I click this, it's going to automatically pull over all the details. So now all I need to do is change the dates. So this, instead of the 21st to the 22nd, is the 22nd to the 23rd. Times pull over, contact pulls over, everything's good. Now I can press the plus. And it's going to automatically pull over all the ticket items as well. So all the same ticket items that we just entered, it's going to pull them over, and it's going to ask me to change them. So I'm going to put my start date now as the 22nd, end date the 22nd, press plus. Now, the only items that will pop up and make you change are the items that absolutely have to have a start and end date on them. So now I'll go to my items, and I'll see the same items are still here, still got my name on it. It does erase the time for your labor because it knows the labor is not going to be the same. So now I just got to come in here and change it to the 22nd. I know I'm going kind of fast, but it seems pretty straightforward. So again, we started at 5 a.m. on the 22nd though, and we worked until 11 p.m. on the 22nd. On this one, we're not going to put our worker in there. There's our price again. It's already entered, 18 hours. Let's check. Mileage, I just need to put same miles. The site didn't get closer or further away, so now I just need to put a start date on this and then put my time in for the day. So 22nd, wrong button there. 22nd, and my time was, again, 4:45 a.m. till 11:15 p.m. And there we go. That quickly. Now, because we already had a ticket made and I was able to clone it, I just made a second ticket for the next day that quickly. So when you're on a job and you're making daily tickets, it literally takes 3 minutes to make a new ticket. Now I'm ready to go into reports, generate a new report, print it out, get it signed. I'm ready to go for the day. That fast. So it's really not complicated when you get this stuff figured out. And when you have just that first ticket that you make, that takes a while. And then from there, it's pretty straightforward. So we should go over this as well. Your meal one and start and end time. Your meal two start and end times. Obviously, you don't take lunch out in the field, so you don't need to put anything in there. This would be if you're working in the shop and you actually left the shop for lunch, so you didn't work through lunch. And this basically subtracts your lunch time from your actual hours worked. So when you put something in here, it actually, basically pays you less. And so obviously, you do that if it's accurate. You're required to only enter the time that you actually worked, but if you're in the field, there's some people that just thought, I figured I should put lunchtime in there, but then you get paid less, and you don't need to do that. So, let's see, there are some other tweaks that you can figure out over time, but that is the basics of it. And then in the future, I will create something, kind of a guide or something for everybody, kind of showing how to do all the other tweaks and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody, and that way if anybody has any questions before we wrap this up, we can go over them. Okay, all right, everybody should be unmuted, except unless you have your phone muted. So let's see, I do have a question here. Time off, Marty asked, time off for sick days. This is back during the Salesforce portion of the little class here. Marty asked, time off or sick days can be added after 40 hours of work. Yeah, you can use your time off and sick time after 40 hours, but note that you don't get paid overtime for it. Time off and sick time and holiday, all that kind of stuff is only ever straight time. So if I have 40 hours and I enter 8 hours of sick time, I just get paid 48 hours of straight time. So, okay, anybody else have any questions? You can send them through the chat or unmute your phone and ask. I have a quick comment. I don't know if you hear it,
but guys, make sure that when you're sending times to myself or Jeremy or Omar or Jesse or whoever is able to enter time for you, please make sure that you're checking your Salesforce before you send us the times for the week, because that's how you end up getting overlapping time. There's been times where techs have sent me times for the whole week, and it only happened one time where I did not ask them whether they had checked their Salesforce, and I ended up overlapping their time with times that their lead tech had already entered time on a job they were on. After that one time that it happened to me, that Jeremy brought it up to my attention, I make it a habit of asking the tech, have you checked your Salesforce prior to you sending me all the time? So please make sure that before you do send us times, that you're checking your Salesforce and only sending us the times that you are missing, so that we won't have an overlapping issue.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Well, so I'm still recording right now, just in case anybody has any questions, so we can capture those on the recording. But if nobody has questions, then we'll go ahead and stop recording, and I think we're all set. I guess I'll give it 10 seconds. If anybody wants to unmute and ask anything. Nope. Okay. All right. Well, then.